The crime has been rising in the first half of the year, with the number of physical crimes crossing the 10,000 mark for the first time in 5 years. That's an increase of about 4% compared to the same period last year. Thefts in particular are on the rise. Now, according to mid-year police stats, shop thefts make up a fifth of all cases. Altogether, there were more than 2,000 cases, an increase of almost 180 from the first half of 2023. It remains one of the top offences committed by youths. Theft in dwelling cases have also edged up to 431. Most were committed by culprits known to the victims, such as housemates or family members. Now, cases of outrage of modesty also up slightly by 11 to 708 cases, and these typically took place at home or at shopping centres and on public transport. About 3 in 5 cases involved culprits who were known to the victims. As for voyeurism, 257 cases were reported in the first 6 months, and that's about 30 more than the same period last year. Police note a rise in such incidents at sports and swimming complexes.
Despite the increase in physical crime in the first half of 2024, the crime situation in Singapore remains under control. We would like to remind offenders the severity of the punishment when convicted of shop theft, and even though they may not be caught when committing it, they will be caught eventually with the prevalence of CCTV cameras in the retail outlets.
And for more, I'm now joined by Associate Professor Razwana Begum. She is head of the Public Safety and Security Program at the Singapore University of Social Sciences. Professor Razwana, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So we are seeing this increase in crimes in the first half of the year. What's contributing to this spike, and how concerning is it?
It is a concern because we are looking at numbers going up drastically in terms of the 4.1% increase, and I think by end of the year the numbers will probably hit somewhere close to pre-COVID days. Why is this happening? There are several reasons for this. If you look at shop theft, there is increasing awareness as well. There are retail associations that are coming together to put measures in place to detect such crimes from when it takes place. Apart from that, the other two, outrage of modesty and voyeurism cases, there are more and more victims coming forward because there are initiatives in place for them to be able to report such matters to the police.
You mentioned that the number for the second half of the year will see similar to that in pre-COVID days. What does that number look like? Is it an increase or decrease? And is there a particular trend that you've observed in the past years?
If you look at the physical cases that's being reported, pre-COVID, we've had a lot of those such cases similar to shop theft and theft in dwelling and, burglary, robbery and all that. Then during COVID, the numbers were kind of lower, but at the same time, we had more scam-related type of cases.
Sure.
So in that sense, then the numbers are not really a sign that we have an increase in terms of the number of physical cases. I feel that the numbers would probably inch closer to pre-COVID. That's what I'm observing when you look at what's happening right now, because in the second half, we already had 4.1% increase.
Okay, and looking at the current figures, shop thefts making up 20% of cases, and it remains one of the top offences that youths are arrested for. What factors do you think are at play here, and what are the areas of concern?
When you look at young people generally, their psyche in terms of wanting to take risks, wanting to be able to afford or to get something that they cannot afford. So all of those things are contributing factors. I do not think there is a change in terms of how they would react to such offences. But when you look at some of the offences that they're committing is basically from shopping centres, or they're taking food items, or they're taking, cosmetic products. This is like typical, young people's mentality that they may not get caught. They will just try to take something small. However, when we have community coming in, when we have retail associations coming in to kind of, raise awareness, so you have more and more such people getting detected. So I feel that it is a concern, but at the same time, we need to figure out how can we address this underlying, sense of responsibility, wanting to, lead within their means, being able to, acquire items lawfully by working, and using that money to, spend on these items.
And as we understand, many of these cases were committed by culprits known to the victims. They are either housemates or family members. Walk us through the psyche of these criminals. What's driving them to commit such crimes?
If you know someone and you believe that the person trusts you, it's easier for you to look at it as I can maybe consider taking advantage. It's slightly different from trying to maybe steal from an unknown area, because you need to figure out how to get there, how to get out. But if you're stealing from someone's house, like maybe you go to your friend's place and you realize that the items are lying around and you just take one or two items, you may think, oh, they may not suspect it's me. Sure. And you got easy access into that home environment as well. So that's one example. Of course, when you look at all the other type of offenses, like when you look at outrage or modesty or even voyeurism, it's very easy for you to be able to install cameras in a house, in a friend's place that you're familiar with, rather than trying to do it in a public place.
How do we then stay vigilant in such cases? How do we sort of guard ourselves against, such crimes that are particularly committed by people that we know personally?
I think it's really important for us to be able to be vigilant and to be careful about the information that we are sharing. There must be some red flags that we are looking out for. If someone's trying to get too close to you and you think that some of these deals that they're offering is not, is way too real for you, or something along the line where they are trying to get information about you, or when you share information as well, you have to be mindful about the personal information that you're sharing online or you're sharing with strangers. So I think these are all some efforts that you can put in to kind of, safeguard your own personal, needs and create some safe boundaries as well with the person that you're engaging with.
It's very important to stay cautious, isn't it?
Yes.
Professor Razwana, thank you very much for coming in. That was Associate Professor Razwana Begum at the Singapore University of Social Sciences.